Right, ladies and gents, it's no surprise that we're going to be doing a video on this. You guys have seen it for some time. I've been saying it for some time. But Marvel's VFX has been going downhill. Now we know why. Now it's interesting. There'll be loads of people that'll just go, "Well, you just love DC. That's why you're doing this video." I'm equal rights. I will rip on DC as much as Marvel. I have no biases either way, quite frankly. But Marvel's CGI has been bad for some time. Now, it's interesting that the VFX artist who worked on the likes of Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out to reveal what they're like to work for. Maybe that's a preemptive strike, I guess, to say, hey, look, it's not actually our work, it's our client, Marvel, that is bad, and putting unrealistic demands on said individuals working. So, and this also goes to like Thor, Love and Thunder, as to why it's so expensive. That's a $250 million movie. It is outrageously expensive. And there's basically no sets. Like, there's nothing tangible. Much like most Marvel, it is just entirely sound stages. Which, they can work. Sound stages can work. But more often than not, they don't. I mean, this doesn't work. Even just this before and after. You can clearly see, a difference in tangibility between one and the other. You can see that this isn't real, what they put in here. Like, it's not. It doesn't look anywhere near close to being real. This is Shang-Chi. But they've been as bad back as, Infinity War. So now VFX artists have begun speaking out about how it feels to work for Marvel. Something many would consider being a dream come true, but what may actually be more of a nightmare. So Druv Govil, I'm butchering that, went over to Twitter, and he'll be doing this at kind of great expense to his career, quite frankly. He's a former VFX artist, and he has worked on Marvel projects, and explaining why they're horrible to work for. So Govil revealed that working with Marvel is what pushed him to leave the VFX industry. So he's a former VFX artist. I mean, if he ever wanted to come back into it, he's probably never going to be able to now. But they were the very reason he chose to leave the industry. Now, yeah, it might be a bit of a wet wipe, but some of the stuff that he says is interesting. So he says, working on Marvel shows is what pushed me to leave the VFX industry. They're a horrible client, and I've seen way too many colleagues break down after being overworked, while Marvel tightens the purse strings. And we know they are notoriously tight. We've heard that from previous individuals that were in charge of Marvel. They're renowned for being tight. So, I mean, it just, again, but even with those astronomical budgets, they almost have to be tight because they're putting everything on VFX artists rather than tangibility in terms of, real live sets. It's a very strange business model. But anyway, he worked on Spider-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy as a VFX artist, and he continued and said, so just because a lot of folks have mentioned it, this has been the case since the earliest days of the MCU. It didn't start recently, and it's not because of Chapek. The issue is Marvel is too big and can demand whatever they want. It's a toxic relationship. Now, what are they actually demanding? What is it that they're actually demanding? Well, here it is. Marvel is probably the worst methodology of production and VFX management out there. They can never fix the look for the show before more than half the allocated time for the show is over. The artists working on Marvel shows are definitely not paid equivalent to the amount of work they put in. So this goes almost back to like that gaming crunch stuff. Again, similar, it's all CG to a certain degree, right? Like it's VFX, so it's similar to that whole crunch in the game industry. The charm of working on a Marvel movie is way overrated now, and I would rather be happy working on a TV series after decades and decades of this. And then there's other individuals that have come out and said, I request not to work on Marvel movies and TV shows. Unfortunately, they're becoming our biggest client. They expect a smorgasbord of options so they can change their mind 3 more times. Madness. Marvel has seen grown men punch walls and throw monitors from stress. I broke down a couple of times, and I've seen the strain it can put on marriages. But hey, the money was fantastic. Fuck Marvel as a client. The credit name is not effing worth it. I'm on my 3rd Marvel project in a row and literally just woke up at 5:30 AM on a Saturday with stress going, I don't want to do this anymore. It's 6 AM now and I'm making a reel to apply some place that has projects other than Marvel because I can't do this anymore. Now, again, it seems like that whole crunch thing, which is actually what, they then start to, I guess, pose in the latter part of this article, is Hollywood overworking VFX artists? As the landscape of Hollywood continues to change, the workload for VFX houses is only growing. While once CGI heavy projects were limited to a few action blockbusters a year, most theatrical releases will now utilise to an extent, meaning the requirement has grown exponentially. Now they're talking about TV, streaming, etc. That makes sense. I get that. The demand is higher, but they're not allowing for that. And also because of the work that they do as clients, how they handle themselves as clients, as a customer business relationship, you're causing people, VFX artists, to leave, then you're minimizing the pool at which to choose from. Thus, the CGI just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Now, they do say perhaps this may offer the explanation for why recent projects have begun to suffer from an increasing number of VFX blunders and arguably questionable CGI. And it has been really bad. If the MCU intends to maintain its current output, the only solution to current VFX problems may be to hire more artists to better distribute the intense workload. It's interesting. So, there you have it. Love your thoughts. Drop them down below. Take care. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out my Teespring store. Supporting the channel via this way does go a long way. But also, not only that, you do get to wear some awesome merch. These are one-of-a-kind designs designed for me by my graphic designer. We, of course, have our Clown World line, which is in mugs, hoodies, t-shirts. We've got Space Jeebus. And then for something a little bit different, we, of course, have right down at the bottom right here, we have our
also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out
and supporting my second channel, which is Car Nonsense. This is a vlog and car channel. You can find links to this in the description box along with my Teespring. Please do consider supporting.